chance to hear it, so let her tell it. People on the streets say Sabrina speaks. Tune into the show, she will let you know. Tell all your friends and family. Real talk is no joke. You get the news straight up from grassroots and concerns. You hear with some people gone. So tell all your friends to tune in to
Good evening, Cayman. I'm Sabrina Turner, and welcome to Sabrina Speaks, your daily dose of clarity, truth, and community insights. Every weekday from 5 to 6:30 p.m., we're tackling the issues that affect you, from national headlines to grassroots concerns. Whether you're in traffic or winding down your day, this is your chance to hear it straight and speak your truth. So buckle up, Cayman. We're not holding back.
This is the show. We gotta let you know. Now we got to go.
And now here's Sabrina.
Yes, welcome to another episode. There I am. Let me get this off. There, little bit of green. Welcome to another episode of Sabrina Speaks, Voices of the Islands, Conversations for the World, the podcast where voices rise, stories unfold, and inspiration takes center stage. It's so good to be back with you this evening. I know some of you are having a little problem finding us on the CMR Facebook and YouTube pages. Please, we are there. I'm sharing the links in the WhatsApp channel. So just share those with your friends if they're saying, we are not getting Sandra, we can't get Sabrina. And also you can find me on Sabrina Turner Community Activist on Facebook. And you can look for the Sabrina Speaks or Sabrina Speaks to number 12 on YouTube as well. And you'll find all of my shows listed there as well. But all the Cayman, CMR, Mar Road pages as well, you can find us. So if people are having some challenges, just let them know. Just share the link. And if you're a part of the WhatsApp channel, you will find me there as well. But yes, I am Sabrina, and it's good to be back with you this evening. Hope you're having a good day thus far. Lots and lots going on. And let me tell you something. You see, content creation, if anybody thinks this is easy or it's a ride in the park, you got to think again. Let me tell you something. There's so much things going on behind the scenes that we actually try to make it flawless. And sometimes, yeah, it's like you're doing 50 things at one same time. But yes, very, very happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone of you who are tuning in right now, and maybe you're heading off somewhere, whether you're joining me from work, home, watering those orchids. And what's up with the forecasting? I was expecting thunderstorms. That's the good thing with forecasters. It's a forecast. But I'll get into the evening's weather soon or in a few. But yeah, whether you're joining us from watering your plants, your orchids, whatever it is you're doing, or sneaking a little listening in while you're taking a break at work, welcome to our special edition of Sabrina Speaks right here today. And we're learning and leaning into the spirit of celebration and culture and connection. Yes, might as well. It's always been a big thing on the calendar, and we see it. We got some stories of ourselves to tell, and I'm talking about St. Patrick's Day. Maybe Irish in origin, but the joy, the storytelling, the music, the sense of community, that's something we understand deeply right here in the Cayman Islands. So I want to encourage you to go ahead and, drop a comment if you did something special today. Maybe you got pinch, or let me know if you learned something just by giving you a tidbit yesterday on St. Patrick's. I learned a thing or two. And let me know where you're watching from as well. And tell me if you're wearing a bit of green today as well, just to get into the spirit. You'd be surprised. Your last name may actually connect you more than you know. So yes, even if it's just a green thought in your mind, we'll count it in. We've got a full vibrant show lineup here this evening, definitely, but it's not the same without your participation. I see you all coming in, and we're talking about a little bit about the history. We're talking about the Caribbean ties as well. We're even talking about some of the food. Yeah. And of course, your live comments throughout the show. I would be more than happy to entertain them if you're weighing in on this as well. This is your space. This is your voice. This is our community, and definitely our conversation. So settle in and share the live with your friends and family. Let them know that we're celebrating St. Patrick's today, Cayman. The warmth, the laughter, and lots of heart. That's how we do it here. You know how it goes, because the content you're about to hear, including any discussions or opinions from myself, guests, and our participants, is intended solely for general informational and entertainment purposes. It's not a substitute for professional legal, medical, or financial advice. So I encourage you to consult with a qualified professional regarding any specific concerns. Bridge Media Limited and all its affiliates disclaims all liability for any decisions or actions taken in reliance on the information presented. Yeah. So good to be here with you. I see you all. Yep. What's up with the forecasting? A lot of you were a little disappointed, weren't you? Even though the sun took a little while to come out this morning, but that's why it's important for me to just let you know it's a forecast. Compliments of the Cayman Islands National Weather Service. Let's take you into this evening's weather report and update. Occasional showers with isolated thunderstorms at times are expected across the Cayman area through the next few days as a prefrontal trough continues to develop across the Northwest Caribbean and is being fueled by moisture drawn in from the Southern Caribbean. An associated frontal boundary across the Yucatan Channel will clash with this feature and maintain those conditions mainly across the sister islands through Friday morning. A thunderstorm advisory is in effect due to moderate to high chance of thunderstorm activity in and around the Cayman area. Now for our tides, there will be a high tide at 8:51 this evening, a low tide at 2:56 a.m. The sun will set this evening at 6:35 and sun will rise tomorrow morning at 6:31. Now the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Friday morning. So yeah, that's the thing, with the weather. It's a forecast. And even though I know some of you were a little disappointed because I heard some rumbling last night. And but it never came. Do we be thankful? Yeah, maybe you had outside plans. Now let's turn our attention to global and local news update, making headlines today, not only locally, but also internationally and regional as well. We begin with developments in government news, and changes are coming to immigration policy. The government has confirmed that new amendments to the immigration law will come into force on April 2nd. Opposition members have criticized the process, arguing that the bills were pushed through without the required public consultation period. Now, the changes are expected to take effect and affect several categories of residency, work permits, permissions, and officials say more guidance will be released shortly. In other local news, the Cayman Islands Postal Service has unveiled a new stamp series celebrating the nation's 4 female national heroes. The collection released earlier this month features denominations from 20 cents to $2 along with a special first day cover. The project was developed in partnership with the Protocol Office and the National Archives and aims to honor the women who helped shape Cayman's history. And in other local developments, a major landmark ruling on PR points for dual citizens. A major immigration ruling is set to reshape how permanent residence applications are assessed. Now, the Immigration Appeals Tribunal has clarified how dual nationalities are scored under the PR point system, resolving years of uncertainty around Factor 8, which awards points based on country of origin. Now, the decision brings long-awaited consistency for applicants holding more than one passport. Though questions remain about how the system treats Nepalese nationals and accordingly to legal experts. So we will follow this as well. This is precedent setting, and definitely we will continue to watch how this unfolds. Now, meanwhile, other government updates is that the Cayman Islands government has released extraordinarily Gazette number 17, which is detailing the latest official notices and legislative updates. Published on March 6th, the Gazette includes commercial announcements and regulatory changes relevant to businesses and residents. The government is encouraging the public to stay informed by reviewing the document online or subscribing to official updates. And more on local news, Cayman Islands Prep and High School hosted one of its largest Conyers International School Debating Tournaments last night, marking the event's 20th anniversary. 80 student debaters from 11 schools across Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac took part, supported by more than 70 volunteer judges and over 50 prep student helpers. Prep teams performed strongly, with Zach Waltler and Pereira placing 5th, and Gemma General and Joanna O'Connor finished 8th. Distinguished guests, including Governor Jean Owen, Premier Andre Ebanks, and several other members of Parliament, with Justice David Doyle serving as the final round's guest judge. Now, organizers say that the tournament success was driven by outstanding student leadership and community support. Congratulations, I've attended those, and those are very, very interesting. Let's turn our attention over more now to the Caribbean regions. Out of Barbados, the government of Barbados has announced a major new initiative aimed at giving every child a stronger financial start in life. Beginning this year, all newborns will receive an investment valued at 5,000 Barbados dollars, placed in an account that grows as they do. Officials say the program is designed to build long-term wealth, support future education, and reduce generational inequality. Parents won't be able to withdraw funds immediately, ensuring the investment matures by the time the child reaches adulthood. In other Caribbean news, dancehall legend Rodney Bounty Killer Price is set to be honored once again, this time by the Generational Impact Guardian of Cultural Award. Now, the event taking place on March 29th recognizes his decades of community service, charitable outreach, and his powerful influence on Jamaican music. Organizers say Bounty Killer has not only shaped the sound of dancehall, but has mentored some of its biggest stars, including Vybz Kartel, Movado, and Elephant Man, leaving a legacy that spans generation. The award celebrates individuals who preserve cultural heritage while inspiring the future. This article, I thank Irie Jamardio.com. So you can see more of that on that website. And let's take it over to the United Kingdom as we wind down this evening news segment. President Volodymyr Zelensky arrived in London this afternoon for a series of high-level meetings, beginning with an audience with King Charles III at Buckingham Palace. The Ukrainian leader thanked His Majesty for the royal family's continued support during the war. Zelensky then traveled down to Downing Street for talks with Prime Minister Keir Starmer, where the two discussed strengthening defense cooperation, including a new partnership on drone technology. The visit comes as the United Kingdom reaffirms its commitment to supporting Ukraine despite rising global tensions. And in other news out of the UK, the health secretary says meningitis outbreak in Kent is now an unprecedented and rapidly developing situation. Wes Sterting told Parliament that 15 cases had been confirmed, with 2 young people tragically dying. 4 of the infections are the dangerous Mend B strain, and hundreds of students have already been given antibiotics as a precaution. A targeted vaccination program is now underway for those living in the University of Kent halls as health teams worked urgently to contain the spread. In other UK news, the UK government is also under growing pressure today as international criticism mounts over its response to escalating tensions in the Middle East. The Green Party leader says that the government has failed to condemn what they describe as illegal strikes carried out by the United States and Israel against Iran, warning that the attacks has destabilized the region and endangered civilians. They're calling the Prime Minister to take firmer stance on international law and distance the United Kingdom from actions they say could drag Europe into deeper conflict. Now, over to the United States. Americans are feeling the impact of global tensions at the pump. With national gas prices climbing sharply over the weekend, the average price now sits at $3.69 per gallon, up more than 70 cents in just 3 weeks. Analysts say the spike is directly tied to the instability of the Strait of Hormuz, where ongoing conflicts has disrupted oil supply routes. Now, the White House has not announced any immediate measures to ease the pressures on consumers. And also in U.S. Secretary of State Rubio says Cuba is facing one of the worst economic crises in decades, arguing the island system simply doesn't work. Speaking in Washington, Rubio said Cuba survived for years on heavy subsidies, first from the Soviet Union and more recently from Venezuela, but those supports have now disappeared. He warned that without outside lifelines, the Cuban government is in a lot of trouble, and insisted the country needs new leadership capable of fixing what he called a fundamentally non-functioning economy. And also, the U.S. intelligence community has been shaken by a sudden resignation of its top counterterrorism official. Joe Kent, director of the National Counterterrorism Center, stepped down earlier today, saying he cannot, in good conscience, support the ongoing war in Iran. In his letter to President Trump, Kent argued that Iran posed no immediate threat and claimed the conflict was driven by pressure from Israel and its political influence in Washington. Now, his departure marks the highest level resignation over the administration's Iran's strategy so far. And that concludes this evening's Sabrina Speaks news from your region and definitely from around the world. Happy birthday. Shout outs to everyone who's celebrating a birthday today. Yeah. And thank you all for sharing the love yesterday as well. To all of you who shared the love. And I see the love still keeps coming in. Yeah. Thank you so much for making those persons feel extra special on their day. And for all of you who are celebrating anniversaries as well, happy anniversary to you. One and all. It's so good to be a part of this family, and you guys just get it. But if you want to be mentioned as well, send it to me. Yeah. Michelma is the one who keeps all of the updates for us. But until such times, I really depend on my social media page. Yes. Good evening to all of you that are coming. Please remember to share the link. Let them know we're alive and we're celebrating Happy St. Patrick's Day. Good evening, Connie. How are you? It's so good to have you here. Donnie Bonnie, are you outside watering? How's your day been going? Carol's in the house. Good evening to you, my sweet. How are you? Oh, yes. Damien Henry. Hold on. Where's my little thing this evening, Damien? You didn't do it. Where is it? Getting used to this thing. I see Marshall is late to class. I guess he's setting up for his event. We're going to be expecting those pictures in a little while. I'm sure he will share some with me. Let's hope that he shares that with me in a little while. Yeah. Alfred. Oh, sorry. That's Alfred. But I wanted to call Aliano to find out how he's doing too. Give me a thumbs up if you're good to go, Aliano, in your recovery. Good evening, Alfred. How are you? How being a man feels about that honor? Yeah, for Bounty Killer. Look here, and I'm getting into that entertainment saga. But it would be good to bring it up to see the feedback on that. Interesting. I didn't even realize how bad that industry is in a good way, where it's just constant at it. Wow, you got it. It must be taking a lot out of you to try and maintain a certain stance. But it'll be interesting. We're definitely following that, Alfred. Definitely. Andrew Campbell is in the house. Happy St. Patrick's Day. How much do you wear green today, even if it's a scrunchie? I saw somebody WhatsApp me. I'm wearing a scrunchie. I said, that'll work. That'll work. Yeah. Philip Murphy says, benefits are better here. You must be Irish. No, I'm not. I'm just basking in the moment because of the diverse community that we have. And when I was doing my research, it will amaze you how we can tie this into some of the surnames that are here. And I'm quite sure if some Caymanians really dig Phil Murphy, you would be floored. We got more ties than we think. And that's why I thought I should share it today, just to give a little fun instead of the hard hitting topics all the time, and to give some background about it as well. Yeah, I thought it was fun. See, Ebanks, good evening to you, my sweet. It's so good to have you all joining me here this evening. But you know what? There's still another segment that we got to go, and I'm loving this because thank you. People are sharing the stuff with me, and I'm going to make sure that you actually are keeping the know so that you don't miss out anything. And I'm not going to tell you I'm going to get it all, but once I'm aware, I'm definitely going to share it with you. And what's making this evening's community calendar and gentle reminder, want to make sure, let me know if you like my images. I'm creating all of these little thanks to my helpers in the background. AI. Yep. I'm just busy during the day, but yeah, I'm loving it. And as I continue to learn this space, but making it into a community calendar and a gentle reminder that this Thursday, March 19th in East End, you're being invited. The community is invited and everyone is invited to a very special event. Yes, that event is the groundbreaking ceremony for the new George Dixon Park. Now, the Honorable Isaac Rankin is welcoming residents, families, and supporters to come out and be a part of this important moment for East End. The ceremony will begin at 1:30, and everyone is encouraged to attend as, the district celebrates the start of a project designed to bring new life and recreation and in definitely a new community space. So the RSVP deadline has already passed. That was on the 12th. And definitely this Thursday, I plan to be out there. Maybe I can see you out there. That's the plan. 1:30 and bolt back down here quick, so that I can get back live for you guys. So yeah, looking out to seeing you guys there at this groundbreaking event, historic moment, and congratulations to the Honorable Minister there for making that a reality. And more community thing, guess what? Nominations are now open for the Proud of Them Youth Awards. Yes. You see those billboards that are all over the island with our young men and women? Yeah. If you want to nominate somebody, The nominations are now open for the Proud of Them Youth Awards. And this is celebrating outstanding young Caymanians between the ages of 10 and 25. Now, you can nominate a young person or within these age groups, someone who shines in academics, let's say sports, culture, community service, career, or even business. Yeah, this is your opportunity to nominate a young man or woman in these categories. So if you know a young person making a real impact, now's your chance to recognize them. So you can go on and you can visit the youthservices.ky, proud of them, and submit your nomination. And make sure you follow at Cayman Youth on Instagram for updates as well. Now, please notice that the nominations will close on March the 21st, so you don't have a lot of time, okay? Nomination day closes on the 21st of March, so don't wait. These young people need to be recognized, and we want to make sure that they're given the best opportunity and especially be recognized. So yeah, if you know a young man or woman or a group of these children who you feel, have made a significant contribution, or someone who shines in academics, sports, culture, community service, business, yeah, you want to make sure that you nominate them. And like I said, the deadline is March 21st, 2026. You see, I got it up there. There's a reason for it. Okay. And also in our community calendar for today, the gentle reminder, the Cayman Islands government is still now accepting applications for its 2026 scholarships programs. And this is for local students and who are encouraged to apply for funding, support both local and overseas studies at the undergraduate and postgraduate levels. Now, please note that the program is open to Caymanians who meet the academic requirements and are ready to take the next step for their education journey. Now, full details and all of that sort of stuff, full details of all of that, full details of all guidelines and application forms are available. Can you turn down your radio behind the scenes, please? And students are encouraged to apply early to make sure that your documents are submitted before the deadline. So the deadline is April 30th. Please, 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 please don't forget this. Phone lines are open. You can see, well, we got a caller, so why not? Whoops, there we go. 345-936-8255 is the number to call to be a part of the conversation. Caller, I think you muted yourself. Hello? Hello, caller. Let me call the caller back. That was an early caller for the day. Yeah, so if you want to be a part of the discussions today, feel free to join in and celebrate this occasion. No, I'm not Irish at all. I'm just basking in the moment and celebrating it with all of you. Good evening.
Yeah,
You're live. Now? You're better.
Oh, okay. Something's going on with my microphone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In honor of St. Patrick's Day, I have an Irish joke.
Go ahead.
All right.
Good night.
So
keep it clean.
there's this
Keep
pub,
it as clean as possible.
and a guy walks up to the bartender, and the bartender says, "Well, what are you, Protestant or Irish?" He said, "I'm Jewish." So he said, "Well, are you a Jewish Protestant or a Jewish Jewish Catholic?" That's the joke.
Oh Lord, only you, only you, only you. Well, happy St. Patty's Day to you, my love. How are you today? You're having a good time.
All right, I'm gonna get back to my cooking now.
What are you cooking today? What are you cooking today?
Oh, making some Cajun chicken, rice and beans, and some frozen California blend.
Nice. You enjoy the kitchen, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I love cooking.
Okay.
It's kind of hard when you're cooking for one person, but inevitably one or two other people show up, and if there's leftovers, just freeze it and cook something else. And Yeah,
Well, good for you.
I
Good
can't
for
eat the same thing 3 days in a row.
you
So
know, you
I
know,
fr-
my friend, I'm the
so
same way. I'm the same way. Ain't nothing, but now chili gets better with time. But for me to eat that,
yes, it
yeah,
does.
that's the
You
like
ever
one of the
have
only
cooked
dishes.
chili? You have cooked chili and then take one thin slice of red onion and put it on top of it.
Nice. I dice mine,
Oh, that's the bomb.
little cubes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're getting me hungry now. Go back to your cooking before it burns.
All right, Sabrina, take
Take
care.
care. Have a good evening. You see, that's what this space is about. Look at there. Make sure you have some. Oh, you got some veggies in there, right? You got something green in honor of St. Patrick's Day. Real Alfred, what did you have to green today? Did you wear anything green today? Mm. Damien says, "Oh, thank you so much. Understanding is deeper than knowledge. There are many people who know you, but very few understand you." That's true. That's true. See, that's why I like with you. You pull that one up quick, quick, quick. See, you got me spoiled now. I'm used to them. Well, welcome, one and all, and welcome to another episode of Sabrina Speaks, where we're going to be celebrating. We are celebrating St. Patrick's Day today. To each of you who are tuning in from home or in your cars or just sitting on the back patio. I thought it would be raining this evening and pretty much all day, but you know what? We give thanks no matter what. We're just so thankful to be here in the Cayman Islands, and whether or not you're of Irish by heritage or by spirit, or just simply enjoying what actually comes with it. And if it's going to go straight into the entire week, because we know how the Irish can party. But definitely today is the day that you may learn a thing or two. And by all means, like I said, the phone lines are open. You can share with us your experience, what you recall, because I found a little bit of information as well that kind of took me back. And just to get you going, Marshall shared a picture of himself back in the day, how he celebrated. Yeah, Marshall, back in the day, and how he really liked St. Patrick's Day. And he participated in a lot of those activities that some of you shared memories of yesterday on yesterday's show. So, I got this. What's Marcia saying? If it's green, it counts. I said that earlier on about the green scrunchie, and it's amazing. Oh, Derek from West Bay. I forgot it was St. Patrick's Day till I saw your show pop up. Okay, Derek. All right. That's why we're keeping it festive here today. Thank you. And what you said, if the only thing you can find is a callaloo leaf. Well, it's green. It's green. So it'll go. Oh, thank you, Shanice. I'm at work and wearing green in spirit only. Oh, okay. Spirit green is still green, girl. We accept spiritual compliance as well on this show. All will go forward. Yes, definitely. But let me just take you into what I found today in preparing for today's show, which I thought of for Tuesday with everything that's going on around the world. Oh my God. And it is St. Patrick's Day. I said, you know what, just cover it. And maybe that'll give a little lull. And we go into the discussions. And, I wanted to just capture a little bit about what is behind the day. And yesterday I shared a little bit with you guys that about St. Patrick and all of that sort of stuff, right? But here's the twist. I didn't realize that he wasn't even Irish. No, he was born in Britain. Yeah, he was born in Britain and kidnapped, can you imagine, at 16, and was taken to Ireland as an enslaved person. And of course, he escaped. And then later, he returned as a missionary. Yeah, St. Patrick. That is some of the history behind St. Patrick. Kidnapped at 16, taken to Ireland, as an enslaved individual, but escaped. He managed to escape. And later he returned back as a missionary. Now, one of the most famous stories, though, is that he used to use the shamrock you know, that flower, if you don't know what it is, to explain the Holy Trinity. And no, he didn't chase snakes out of Ireland. I shared that tidbit joke yesterday. That was all a myth, my friends. That was a myth. Ireland never had snakes. So if that's what you heard about Ireland and about St. Patrick, it's a myth. And I thought that was quite interesting as well. WhatsApp commenter says, Jamal, thank you for commenting. I always thought he chased snakes out of Ireland. Nope. I guess you Googled it afterwards, right? Yep. You Googled it afterwards. Yeah. That is the classic one. You know, that's what he's known for, about chasing these. But no, he gets credit for solving a problem that didn't exist. You know what, Jamal? That's the kind of job I want. But yeah, Marshall joined in yesterday, and I'm quite sure he's going to share some pictures with me a little later because he's having an event at his house over there in the US. And look at this. Look at Marshall. That picture was taken back in 2016 when he was actually participating. Watch him and all his green. He's all his green. Yep. So, oh my gosh. Yes, that is Marshall back in the day. And yes, I got permission to use his image. He's just one of those thinking he's still 21. Yes, he's thinking he's still 21. Alicia says, my granny used to say, if you don't wear green, a leprechaun will pinch you. Yeah, I heard that as well. Alicia Cayman grannies will mix any folklore. But yes, the pinch tradition is real. So for God's sake, try behave yourselves. I hope nobody got pinched at work today if you really understood it, or some of you might get a left hook if you really don't understand what it is. Yeah. Hey, George, how you doing? Happy St. Patrick's Day to all, and I'm having green drinks. Good for you. I may actually venture out after the show. May. I may. Yeah, I may. Alfred Real says, I passed someone today who smiled green. Who smelled? You are wrong. No, that is wrong. Alfred, try to behave yourself. Funny not. Oh my gosh. Hey, Margarita, how are you? It's so good to have you join us today. Dorothy's in the house. Evening to you, my love. In the house. How big is an Irish community do we have on islands? Happy St. Patrick's Day to them all. We honor all nationalities, celebrations, culture, and traditions. We are a small set of islands, but we treat everyone like family. That is so right. Oh, see, Marshall's in the house. Yeah, see, Marshall, I showed you up. I big you up on the screen. Send me some pictures. Good. I love you. We're going to go to the phone lines. Good evening, caller. Welcome. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Whether or not you celebrate it, we're celebrating big and large here today. How you doing?
Well, thanks very much, and good evening to you, Sabrina, and and to the listeners. I see the picture you put on the screen now. There's somebody there wearing green.
Yeah, Marshall. That's back in 2016, but he's actually having an event. He's in North Carolina or South Carolina. And he's having an event this evening, so he's promised to share his pictures live from his event this evening. I thought that was so cool for people just allowing to share in the moment. And with everything, Mr. Balika, with everything that's going on, Mr. Balika, why not just do a lighter movement? But I mean, this is our space. We can go. We can take it wherever we want to go. What's on your mind today, my sweet?
Exactly. Well, just before we leave the subject of St. Patrick's Day, there's somewhere around, I guess it was 2007, 2009 or thereabouts, I had this legislative council, the legislative drafter who I had persuaded to come over to work for 6 months for the Attorney General. And I knew him well because we worked on the same World Bank project in Africa for 2 years. He actually, otherwise he worked in New South Wales for 22 years. But anyway, so he came over and he happened to be in Cayman for St. Patrick's Day. And then he said, well, are there some bars where they celebrate St. Patrick's Day? Now, I wasn't sure. But we looked around and there was a bar on 7 Mile Beach.
Fidel Murphy's?
It might have been Dale Murphy. I thought it might have been across the street from Dale Murphy. But anyway, I was new then, so like I don't recall very clearly. But I remember that it was so booked
For
on the
day.
day, and
Mhm.
he was not able to get in because it was all booked in advance. The people who were supposed to be there, that they were already set, and so he was not able to celebrate
Aw.
St. Patrick's Day. I mean, he's Australian, but he he has got one lineage which is Irish, so he wanted to do that. It was at that time, although I know about the Murphy Club, and I had gone there a number of times. I just didn't realize that on St. Patrick's Day that there's quite some people who celebrated
Oh
it
yeah.
strongly.
There was
So
an event that happens across from just before Peppers now. There's a restaurant there. It skips me right now. But they used to have a rock and there was a competition. They would do it as a fundraising thing. And you had to go and you dress however you wanted to dress. And you had to keep your hand on this rock. And for the person there who remained the longest, of course, you won a prize and all that sort of stuff. And it was amazing how they were even in Depend Pampers and all that sort of stuff. And then it was really fun. But I can remember days gone by where along that 7 mile strip right across from Marriott, the traffic jam just for that one event where you had to touch this rock and you had to hold this rock. It was mayhem, but it was fun. And, you know, they do have a sense of them when you can understand them. When they party hard. And I love to see how they dance. I've attended a number of events, but poor my knees would give out. Oh Lord, I don't want to end up being no. But you know, I love their spirit. Mr. Malika. I've been to a few events with them. It's fun.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Well, it's interesting you should mention Peppers. I used to go there very often with a friend of mine who lives in that area. It was very, very nice. Now,
Right.
I just thought I should update you on my case very briefly, which is coming up on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
This is my case. Well, it's just to confirm the date.
Okay.
This is my case. This is me, Bilika Harris Imamba, against a whole bunch of people. That's Chief Justice Margaret Ramsey Hale. These are the people I'm suing. Chief Justice Margaret Hale, a certain Mr. Nick Freeland. I'm reading from the cause list. Sir John Goldring, who is the president of the Court of Appeal, Justice Adrian Saunders, who is a judge or president of the Caribbean Court of Justice, Miss Dame Janice Pereira, somebody I know personally a little bit, who is the president of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court, which is the equivalent of the Grand Court, but he's also president of the Eastern Caribbean Court of Appeal.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Mr. Guy Locke, and then Miss Myrtle Brandt. Myrtle Brandt used to be the head of the Legislative Drafting Department, but now she's a part-time member of that commission, and of course the Attorney General. Now, the case is listed from the 23rd, Monday the 23rd of March, and Tuesday the 23rd of March for 2 full days.
23rd and
24th, yes. 23rd and 24th. It will be in courtroom 9. That's where they will set up all the equipment and stuff. But the judges will be in their respective places in the UK. The 3 judges are actually judges of appeal, justices of appeal in the UK Court of Appeal.
Mm-hmm.
And they are the Right Honourable Sir Nicholas Underhill, the Right Honourable Sir Stephen Irwin, and the Right Honourable Patrick Elias. Now, it will not be live streamed, but you can go there in the courtroom and watch it. But they have sent me a Zoom hearing, a Zoom link, and so you can connect by Zoom. Now, this is not illegally being done. I've got the order of the court. I requested it. They sent it to me, so I will be sending it around probably tomorrow for people who want to like log in and listen to it on the Zoom link. It is an important case because in the Cayman Islands, there are still issues as to how effective complaints against judges are. In the report of the Judicial and Legal Service Commission covering the period 2012 to 2015, there were, according to the report, 9 complaints against judges. We do not know who those judges were, the nature of the complaint. We do not know the result. But the report just says there were 9 complaints of judges. So you can see that it is a very opaque system. There is no knowledge really as to whether any single judge, let me rephrase that. We do not know of any single judge who has ever been disciplined in the Cayman Islands. If they were maybe warned privately, maybe there is, but we do not know that. Now, the reason I mentioned that is because this case, the one I'm taking to the Court of Appeal, is saying that the Judicial and Legal Service Commission failed to discipline a particular judge. What has happened is that it went before a judge, Justice McCarthy, who was an acting justice from Barbados. He said that it had no merit and so on. I think that guy needs to go back to law school, but let's leave that for another day. Then it went to a Justice Claire Montgomery, a judge of the Court of Appeal, who also dismissed it. So at that point, I wrote to the president of the Court of Appeal and the governor to say, look, I think you need to get independent judges from elsewhere. So effectively, all the current judges of the Court of Appeal, I think I mentioned this to you earlier, all of them have been recused. So that's why they have got these special judges, the 3 of them, to be able to listen to this. So that's where with this, I will send.
Let's say, should you become a successor at this case, what does it mean for the Cayman Islands? What would be the precedents that would be setting, if without going into the details? Let's say you're successful at the case. What would it signify for Cayman?
Yeah, one, I think it will. Okay, let me not get into some of the indirect things.
Yeah, we don't want you to go
direct
specific.
thing. Yeah.
Let's say it's all done and dusted. You've won. What does it mean?
Well, I wish to win on one of the 26 grounds of appeal. So, depending on which one I win, the result will depend on which ground I win. But it is possible. I think it is possible to distill it into 2 or 3 things. The first thing, I think it will show that even a body which is as powerful as the Judicial and Legal Service Commission can be judicially reviewed, and they can be that a court can find them to be liable. Now, that's very important, because I know a lot of people who have complained against different judges, and because they have known about my case, they have sometimes called me, where do I go to complain about a judge, and I would help them. Or sometimes they'll say, well, I have complained against a judge, but nothing is happening. Then what do I do now? What you do is you bring a judicial review against the person who made the decision. And the other thing which has to, so the first and things at the very top, if I succeed, then it will show that judges can be disciplined and be disciplined publicly. Okay. That's very important. That's right. 1. 2. The other one, which is very important, this one is absolutely crucial. One of the things I'm arguing is that, you see, since 2019, if you make an application for judicial review, the way judicial review works is different from the other suits. The other suits, like if you are suing, you sue it, you issue the writ, you serve it, and then if you go to the judicial website, you will see, Sabrina is suing Bill Simamba. It will be there. But with judicial review, it doesn't work like that. With judicial review, you have to apply for what is called leave to apply for judicial review. In other words, you are asking for permission from the court whether you can bring judicial review. So what happens is you put in what is called an ex parte application, meaning it is an application without the other party, the Attorney General, being called, and then you make a basic case. Basically, you are supposed to say that there is an arguable case here. You are not supposed to have all your arguments there, but just to show enough that, well, is there something that needs a further examination? And then if the court thinks, there's a bit of an arguable case, then they'll give you leave, meaning permission, and then you will come back now with your full-fledged case and and then the other party will be served with the documents, and then you'll come and talk about it. Now, what happens wherever you go in the Commonwealth, even at the stage when you are applying for leave, those documents are public. That's the way it is in Canada, that's the way it is in the UK, and all over the Commonwealth. That's the way it is. And that is the way it was in the Cayman Islands.
Right.
Until 2019, when there were two decisions, one by Justice Kawali, the other one by Justice Smelly, which said, no, at the stage when you are applying for leave, it should not be public. It should be a private, secret hearing.
Okay.
Now, the problem with that, so that's how they've been doing judicial review. So all these judicial reviews which you have seen, you only get to know about them if they get leave. Like, for example, who is it? The ombudsman. She sought leave. At the time she was seeking leave, nobody knew, at least not publicly. And then when she got leave, and then that's when they take the documents and put them on the public register. So they keep a secret register for ex parte applications for judicial review, and then the other one once they are made public.
Okay.
What I am arguing is that is unconstitutional. It amounts to a secret trial. And the reason is because under Section 7, I think it's Section 7 of the Constitution, it says that all the rights, privileges, obligations of citizens are to be determined in an open public trial. That's what it says. So what I'm saying is that when you say that an ex parte application should be private, and it can't even be put on the public register in the court so that people can see, and once the decision is made, for example, if they make a decision that they won't give you leave and you decide not to take it further, it means your rights and obligations have been determined in secret. It is a violation of Section 7. So to answer your question, if I am successful on that point, we will go back to a system where from the time that you apply for leave for judicial review, your matter is public. And I believe that will be very important in terms of accountability in the government. At the moment, the government is getting away. There are some people who apply for judicial review and leave is not given. And when it's not given, if they've got no money to take it further, then it's all, you never get to know about it. Right. How do you have accountability for that? If there is something which is going to come out, the second biggest thing to come out of that, it is that to go back to a time when applications for judicial review are public. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that if I sue somebody today for damaging my bicycle, I sue them for $9, okay? And I file this writ in the summary court. That document is public.
Oh wow!
That document is public. If you go to the judicial website, it's there. If you sue somebody in the Grand Court, like the other suit that I have against the Attorney General and so on for conspiracy to defame and so on, as soon as I filed it, because it was not a judicial review, I filed it as a civil case in the Grand Court. It was public. If you go to the website, you'll find it is public. Okay. So if that is the case, why is it that if even for a small matter, like suing somebody for $10, it is public, but when I go against the government to say that the government has refused to give me a liquor license, that issue can be determined in secret. I mean, that doesn't happen anywhere in the Commonwealth. And you see, it's because Section 7 guarantees a public trial, a public airing of suits for negligence, for anything. Because of that is why, people usually, like in the government, that is why people usually they behave carefully, because they know that this is going to be public. So that is the second biggest one. There's a lot of other issues in there
I'll just wait for your updates, because
you just wait. But
I don't want you to expose anything since it's
No. It's only, you asked me for the significance of it. The significance of it. Those two will be significant. There will be other matters are more of a technical administrative laws matter. So if you are interested in it, Courtroom 9, Monday and Tuesday. By the way, the time It starts at 8 o'clock
In the
on both
morning.
days. And the
Okay.
reason, because that way, in England, it will suit them as well. 8 o'clock both days,
Yeah, the
23,
time.
23rd, Monday.
Right.
Yeah.
Andrew has a
Okay, well,
hold on. You ain't going nowhere yet. I got two things I want to pick
yeah.
your brain with. Andrew says,
Okay,
how
sure.
does the public benefit? Are judges held accountable for biased judgments, penalties, and fines? I posted it up on the screen.
Yeah. Okay. Biases and what did he mention?
How does the
For
public benefit?
biased judgments.
Are judges held accountable for biased
Okay.
judgment, penalties, and fines? Is another question.
Okay. Two things. Well, it's one thing, same side of the two sides of the same coin.
Uh-huh.
You see, judges are allowed to make mistakes, like all of us. So if they make a decision, and then you think that the way they made it was biased, or they made a mistake of law, or the sentence was too high, the where to go is not the judicial commission.
Mm-hmm.
You appeal the case, okay? Because they can make a mistake. But if they do something that goes to misconduct, okay, it is misconduct, then you go to the Judicial Legal Service Commission. Although, again, this is another thing which has changed. From 2009 to 2016, you went to the Judicial and Legal Service Commission. They are the ones who disciplined the judge. But in 2016, the Constitution was amended so that in the Grand Court, if you think a Grand Court judge has has misconducted themselves, you go to the Chief Justice.
Mm-hmm.
The Chief Justice now is the one who who disciplines the judge. Now, that's one of the other little things that we are going to discuss in this case, because my case was taken to the commission, and then the commission wrote to the Chief Justice, and then the Chief Justice seemed to just convey what appears to be a decision of the commission. So one of the things I'm challenging is, well, if the Constitution says, Chief Justice, you make the decision, you should make the decision. You shouldn't give it to somebody else who makes the decision, and then you just convey it to me. So that's one of the things.
Sounds like the amendments to the immigration law.
Yeah, exactly. But for those legal nerds out there, what I'm alleging, just in two words, really, if I'm saying that if the commission did that, then they usurped the powers of the Chief Justice. Okay. And if the Chief Justice allowed them to do that, then she abdicated her responsibility. It's one of the grounds of appeal which will be argued. So in a nutshell, if it is misconduct, you go to the Judicial and Legal Service Commission. If it's just a mistake of law, then you just you just appeal the matter. But it's very often it's a very fine line. In this particular case, why I think that misconduct comes in was because the judge really said two things in the judgment, which I proved by documentary evidence that he was lying. So I'm saying that's where you draw the line. If he had just made a mistake of law, fine, it's a question for appeal. But if he deliberately has lied, and since then he has never explained why he said something like that, that is misconduct. And so basically that's the top thing. Okay. I have 13 emails which show that this judge lied, in my view. And the judges up to this point in that time have not decided that issue. So I hope that's a good answer for the...
Andrew, that he answered your question. And Wake Up Cayman is saying, question, before Mr. Balika leaves, please ask him if his course involves Parse, P-A-R-S-E, syntax, grammar.
Oh, yes. In fact, I've got two courses. I've got one which is called How to Write Legal Documents in Plain English. There's a basic one, and then there's an advanced one. And I go into the syntax and the grammar. For example, I deal with issues like ambiguities involving verbs, ambiguities involving adjectives. And I mean, it teaches you all those word handling skills that you need for regular writing. But also it teaches you some of the things like you tend to find in any piece of writing which are ambiguous. Yes, it does cover grammar and syntax and just how to write plainly.
Okay.
Yeah. it covers what is called plain English, because in the old a lot of people like to speak that lawyerly language.
Mm-hmm.
What we do these days when we write legal documents, we try to write in a way that everybody will understand.
Yes, you don't have
Actually,
to be
you will see.
into. It's like when they're speaking on the floor of
Yeah.
Parliament. It's so British that many people lose because they lose you on how it is.
Exactly. And you will find that, for example, like in Australia, when plain language really came, a lot of law firms, what they did, they took all those documents, like the leases, the mortgages. You think about any legal, the wills, all those things.
Yeah.
They had people who had now become specialized in plain language. Then they rewrote all those documents in plain language, because what happened is that if you were a firm and your documents had been made into plain language, people wanted to come to your firm because they could understand the document.
Understood. That's fair.
Yeah. So
that's fair.
yeah. So that's the thing.
Last thing I want to draw to your attention. I want to thank the person who sent
Yeah.
me the link on YouTube,
Yeah.
on WhatsApp as well. I think it's worth mentioning, and because we're all in the middle of this whole immigration law being implemented now on the 2nd, it now on the 1st, no more, so it will be on All Fools Day. Thank God they must got the hint. This was shared with me. Listen to this, and it's going to take. I want your feedback on it. Very interesting, though. In the Turks and Caicos Islands, guess what? The Turks and Caicos Islands government is proposing a major change on its immigration rules. Now, under the draft legislation, work permit holders would need to earn at least $5,000 per month before they can sponsor a spouse, child, or living with them. Now, according to the immigration minister, Jamel Robinson, says that this shift moves away from the traditional skilled and unskilled categories, focusing instead on the worker's financial capacity. Now, what applicants will also need to prove when they're making their application is that they still meet the income threshold every time they renew their work permits. And officials over there in Turks and Caicos say that this goal is to ensure families living in the territory can fully support themselves without relying on public services. Now, just for those who are into the numbers and trying to do it with the comparison of Cayman, just FYI, $5,000 income rule in Turks and Caicos is in US dollars, which out of roughly 4,000 Cayman dollars. So by comparison, 5,000 CI dollars would be equivalent to 6,000 US, since Cayman dollar is stronger. So for those of you who are saying, well, what is that? That amounts, that this is quoted here right now in US currency. But if you see what they're doing there in Turks and Caicos, Mr. Balika, what's your way on that? Can you imagine? They're not setting a national minimum wage. They're setting a salary for work permit holders that is 5,000 US a month to have a spouse or child as a dependent.
So in other words, you get a job. If you get a job that pays you $4,000, you'll take the job if you want, but your spouse is not going to join you.
That's exactly what it's saying. You can't apply then to have a spouse or child. Nope, because you would not meet the income threshold.
How does it work in Cayman at the moment? I know when I first came to Cayman.
That's one of the things that is changing now. I think back in the day it was you had to be making a minimum of $3,500 and then an additional $500 per month for each additional child or something like that. Don't quote me on these figures because it's in the head mixed with what I saw in the proposed regulations that we still haven't seen public yet, and the old one. But it was like $2,500 and then like $300 to $500 for each additional dependent. But it was still way less than this. It was way less than this, even in US.
So in other words, Cayman had a similar system, but just it had a lower amount.
Yeah, lower amount. For a higher
lower amount.
Living,
yeah, well,
which
because
pretty much is one and seen.
Yeah, because when I came to join the government in 2003, what I remember with the government, now maybe this didn't arise because my salary was reasonable, but basically they said, okay, fine. You can come in. You are married. You can bring a maximum. The rule in government, I don't know where they got that from. That you could come with up to 2 kids. In other words, you could come in to work for government with a spouse and 2 kids. Now, during the interview, they would ask you what your wife does. Okay. It wasn't a precondition that she has to be capable of getting a job, but I told them that, well, my wife was a social worker and she would be looking to work as well. So that I imagine would have been taken into account. And as it happened, in 2 years, she came and joined me together with the kids and took up a job with Children and Family Services. I mean, this is, I think at the end of the day, it will depend on where they peg it and where they put it. It is a reasonable requirement in the sense that even I know that in Canada, for sponsoring, not so much sponsoring spouses, but if you want to sponsor like a relative to come in, like to come in and work, then you have to enter into a contract with the government to say that that person will not for 10 years seek any government assistance and so on. And if they need that, you provide it. But what they do is that there is a threshold. I forget what it was. When they introduced it about 20 years ago, it was about 33,000. I think it's more than that now. So that in different contexts, they do that to try and, for the same reasons, really, to try and prevent people from coming in, and then they are living on a very small income, and then even if they don't qualify for government services, then it puts pressure on them in terms of where they live. Now the wife is going to fish, and you also as a husband, maybe you are working in the accounting section, you might start getting tempted to get an unauthorized loan because you're kind of broke. Correct. So. But I think it's good that they are looking at that as well. I mean, it doesn't change my view that, in my view, to be frank with you, I think the fight about immigration, I know some people might not like me to say this, I think the fight about immigration has been lost. I think government has finally basically capitulated. All these things they are doing, they won't affect anything. I really believe that
we don't have to wait for time. I want to see the 2nd of April in first and then see it. My thing is the operational arm of the legislation, which is the regulations. And
see it,
So, Mr. Balika, look here. I tell you, we can find you a wife. I hope you're not married. Hold on. I gotta remember I'm alive. Hold on. Andrew says, how documents are worded in English legally to give empowerment in contracts, purchases, wills, and real estate, but easily understood are important. That's a comment. And then Miss Melita is asking, so Mr. B, you're already married then? Question. Asking for a friend. You see what I tell you? Because I'm reading that and processing some information that I'm getting at the same time. And
you're saying I'm on radio. What shall I say? What shall I not say? Like, let us just say that information is sealed. But if you are more interested, you can ask Sabrina. She'll give you my number. You get in touch. I'll tell you.
Yeah. You, Mr. Balika, you're not getting me involved in your mix-up, you know. But it's good. It's all here. Miss Melita,
no. You will only be like the Chief Justice, just conveying a decision. Okay. You're not making a decision. I got you. I feel you. Well, thanks for asking. Yeah.
See, Andrew says Sabrina turned matchmaker. What a mess. All kind of things, Andrew. All kind of things on Sabrina Speaks.
Those are some of the things, Sabrina. You know what people say sometimes? They say, well, when I started this show, it was supposed to be this kind of a show. But then one time we were talking, something happened. But you see, then people showed that they were interested in this. So we had now an offshoot of this show, you know. Then Melita maybe can host that one. It can become like not necessarily a satellite show.
Exactly. But it's good to see you. Hear you.
Well, it's good to speak to you, Sabrina. Good to speak to the Sabrina Speaks community. Always very nice and very kind, and sometimes with some serious talk, and sometimes some some
sir.
bantering, and that's really great.
That's what I love.
Well, let me leave you there.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Have a good
Thank you very
evening.
much.
And
Bye-bye.
Melita is
Bye-bye.
saying she was just the messenger. So it's not Melita. It is somebody else who's
Oh,
hearing you. Yeah. So
oh,
you
so
see?
it has to go to Melita, and then it has to go to
Yeah.
Sabrina, and
Let
then
me
come to me.
what a
Wow.
mess. What a whole heap of due diligence there. Worse than the banks.
Or it's like when you go to you are a big man, like you are 60 years old, and then you go to a young star who is a singer who is 20 years old, and you say, well, can you sign this for me? It's for my daughter, but it's not for your daughter, it's for you. So,
Oh my
well,
gosh.
take care, Sabrina.
All
We'll talk
fun.
soon.
Take care. Have a good
Bye
evening.
bye.
Yeah, there we have it. 9368255 is the number to join in on this conversation, light and lively here this evening, despite hard-hitting conversations at times. And I want to wish Mr. Belico all the best on his upcoming matter, and I'm quite sure he'll definitely keep us updated. Just happy St. Patrick's Day as we keep the mood light and lively here today. Definitely. What you say? Yeah, she's making that point clear. Andrew, she's trying to step back. She's making sure now that we don't say it's her, it's somebody else. She did say though, she was asking for a friend. Yeah, asking for a friend. Me too. I always ask for a friend. That's the indirect disclaimer, Andrew. But I believe you, Melita. Yeah, right. Let's keep it on to the conversation. But what do you think about that for the Turks and Caicos? Thank you for the person that shared that with me on WhatsApp. It just clearly sends a strong message that, look, in the Turks and Caicos right now, at what's being considered, if you don't make 5,000 US a month, they're pretty much saying, don't even waste your time to put. Don't even waste your time to ask for a dependent. And you think that should be the same semblance here? But for us, you can combine incomes with the dad and that sort of stuff. We kind of stretch it out a lot. Should it just be if it's a child that it's both parents if they're here? What if it's a single parent home? As long as that salary don't meet your threshold, should you think the board should have the right to extend it to maybe an aunt or a cousin or somebody, or it should just be black or white? It's interesting how that will actually play out there, just continuing on what the Turks and Caicos are doing. But let's see exactly how that will play in as we continue to evolve and wait for April 2nd as well. I hear you now. Oh my goodness. But yeah, let's take it back to the facts, because I found out that some surnames that we have here are actually quite closely linked to the Irish community. And if you didn't know, you may actually be carrying a name that you it's our little secret, and I sharing a thing with the soul. Just me and you. Wink, wink. Plenty of people here in the Cayman Islands, and I'm realizing that may not realize that we actually do have our own Irish history and other Caribbean islands as well. Now, while we didn't in history, I found out today preparing for today's show, while we didn't have a large Irish settlement like Montserrat, Barbados, and even Jamaica, we did actually share threads in the wider Caribbean story when it came to Ireland, right? And what it comes back is that Irish surnames appearing in early Caymanian records, yeah, that is a fact. And Montserrat, guess what, is the Emerald Isle of the Caribbean. They literally have St. Patrick's Day as a national holiday. And back in the 16 to 1700s, Irish indentured servants in the Caribbean, they pretty much came here and they did what they had to do amongst these different islands, right? And when you look at that, I didn't realize that our names, such as like the McLaughlins and all of that sort of stuff, were actually part of that. Yes. McLaughlin is a classic Irish surname. And for sure that we've had a few Irish origin names based on that regional and migration. Yeah, yeah. Got a WhatsApp from a Peter here. Yeah. I lived in Montserrat for 2 years. There's St. Patrick's Day. Their St. Patrick's Day is serious. Thanks for confirming that. Yeah, they do it big over there, from what I'm understanding. And remember, we've had some people who have migrated here from Montserrat because of the volcanic eruption over there, and we had some of them come here to be a part of us. But right now, they're the only place that really, outside of Ireland, that really has it as a national holiday. Even though we will have events and all that sort of stuff, if you're not really connected to the Irish community here in the Cayman Islands, you'd have to go to Fidel Murphy's or something like that, or just meet up on someone at one of the watering holes and to really see what it is like. But the McLaughlins, yeah, I didn't realize that. So, yeah, you didn't know that. Oh, Johnny says, I didn't know Irish people came to the Caribbean that early. Yeah, back in the 16 and 1700s, they actually did. Cayman was part of the same regional network, even though our population those times were really low, really, really low. So it's amazing. But the McLaughlins is linked to that. When you actually check that out and you look into those surnames, you could have some serious Irish ties there. Andrew says the first early settlers and occupants were who? We know we had slaves. Yeah, but you know what? We're going to eventually have the Ministry of Culture on. And it's going to be interesting what's really written and what we can find on that, so we can share that with you. And of course, as we prepare and get to know our own people and get to share our history, Andrew, I will make it my business to go and do some research as well, because this really pushed me to look even some more into it, because who to tell? You might be surprised exactly what's happening. Melita Ebanks, just kidding. Andrew and Melita is at it. Melita says, I couldn't wear my top, but I was representing on my dashboard. You go, girl. You get away. You get away with it today. You get away with it, my love. Definitely. Let's talk about the food, because you know how we are with food. It needs a plate. And Marshall, I'm still waiting for those pictures. I want to see what your spread's like over there in North Carolina. You're celebrating today, big and bold. And the phone lines are open, 345-936-8255 if you want to join in with us this evening. Traditional, I thought this was interesting too, because even though I didn't link it to Irish tradition, did you guys know that their traditional Irish dish include corned beef and cabbage? How much of us eat that? And are you even linking it to an Irish tradition? And also this Irish soda bread and shepherd's pie. I know plenty of people who drink them Guinness. Yeah. Plenty of people drink Guinness. So it is, it's interesting how we're eating these things and we don't even realize that they're tied into other traditions. Yeah. Nadine says, oh, thank you for sending this. And I'm getting the WhatsApps are coming in. My coworker made green pancakes. I'm still confused. Why? Nadine, green pancakes sounds like a trust exercise, but I respect the commitment. Who would eat green pancakes? I remember one time I did a birthday party for my kids. They were my two boys. They were still very young. And what I did, they were into the whole Barney and Teletubbies and all this sort of stuff back in those days. They're older now. Oh my gosh, they're going to kill me for sharing this. And anyhow, I did the cheese sandwiches platters from Foster's those days because they're kids, and got them in a triangle. And then I made the different color cheese. I had them put a little food coloring in the cheese. And of course it was cheese, but it was different colors. And of course, a parent called me and was like, the kid went to the bathroom, and they almost freaked out. Of course, when they go to the bathroom and they do the number 2, it's going to be a different color, right? But that was funny. So my love, Nadine, that's all I had to tell you about that. Eat them. but just try to remember you ate them, because when you go to the bathroom, OMG, you don't have to run to the emergency room. Andre said, I tried green. Really? He would try green rundown. Why not? How the heck would you change green rundown? That's brave. That would be a brave move, Andre. But honestly, with coconut milk and the seasoning, I don't know about that one. You can imagine your cassava and your breadfruit all being green. Now that's putting a Caribbean Caymanian twist on St. Patrick's Day, trying to incorporate Caymanian cultures. Well, what would you say about Swanky? Swanky would be green? OMG. We got Ruth Ann here said, I made Irish soda bread once and it was very dense. Yeah, that is actually the purpose. And a funny joke, it doubles as a meal and also as a weapon. They're so solid. You could use it as a weapon. Little joke right there. But yeah, they're very dense. The soda bread is very dense and it actually fills you up, but it can also be used as a weapon as well. So it'll be interesting how that, but could you imagine converting the Caymanian rundown dish with green dye? Oh, good evening, caller. Welcome to Sabrina Speak. What's on your mind?
Good evening, Sabrina.
Hi.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day to you.
Just a note of correction, right? Gentle correction, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
When it comes to surnames, any surname that begins with O, like O'Donnell, O'Brien, O'Connor, O'Neill, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Those tended to be Irish.
Oh, really?
The O means it means descendant of or grandson of. And then any name that begins with Mac. So McPeel, McLaughlin, McDonald, McLeod.
Yeah.
They were Scottish.
Yeah, I see
So
where we have another commenter, Miss Brenda, actually confirmed it. The McLeans, the McDonalds, the McCoys, and McLaughlins, O'Connors, etc. Yeah, confirming exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, because the Mac means son of. Like in the Gaelic. So you had Gaelic that was spoken by Scotland and Ireland. But it was two different types of Gaelic. So you have Scotch Gaelic and you have the Irish Gaelic.
Okay.
But any name that begins with O is typically Irish, and the ones that begin with MC are typically Scottish.
It's amazing what I was finding out. Thank you for sharing that, and thank you for all the comments that are coming in. It's amazing how, we just take these things for granted. Oh, you just look at people just having a lot of fun and not realizing how closely tied we are to it. We are. You'd be surprised when you dig deeper. Thanks for sharing that, my friend.
No problem.
All right. Have a good evening.
You too.
Thanks. Damien says, in the 1600s, thousands of Irish people were settled in Jamaica, becoming early English teachers for enslaved Africans, leading to a blended vocal DNA. There you go, boy. We getting it today. Yeah, that's right. And real Alfred Real shares the same as the caller. No, Auntie Sabrina, names that start with Mac, Scottish. Names starting with O are Irish. Thank you. That's why we all learn here. I'm just so like it. Yeah, I'm so liking that vibe and just keeping everybody on track. Melita says food coloring is so much fun. Yes, it is. You got to remember, though. You got to remember. Andrea says, well, if you can more than 3 or 5 greenies, Heineken or Guinness stout and still walk up straight line, you're Irish. Let me tell you something, Andrew, they can hold it. They hold it together. They hold it together very, very. You can't keep up with those. You really can't. Drink in one sitting. Some of us will be looking for our ankles just trying to stand up. Whoa. Oh, really? You're eating green ice cream? For dessert. Nice. Yes, all good. Son of. Oh, thank you, Miss Brenda. Thank you so much for that. Hear the voice. Then out, TD. All right. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's it, Melita. I gotcha. You wanted him to stay on a little bit longer, huh? Mm-hmm. But you can catch that voice every Friday evening at 10 p.m. Love and Lies. Yeah, Melita, hear the voice, the TD. Aye. Look, we could really have another show, because between Mr. Balika having secret admirers and people going crazy over the last caller's voice, I got a group that goes crazy over when even Danny calls, but Danny gone on drought. He put on the side for a little bit. Yeah, Danny got you all on drought. Good evening. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Sabrina Speaks. What's on your mind?
Hi, Sabrina.
Hello.
How are you?
I am fine. Just doing a lighter moment this evening, and it's amazing the
Yes,
feedback that we're
yes,
getting, man.
yes.
It's cool. It's good as we learn.
And happy St. Patty's.
Yes, thank you, and
Mhm.
to you too, my love.
Mhm. And for those of us that were born in March,
Mhm.
we tend to remember it.
I
But since speaking about the Irish and the connection to the Caribbean,
Mhm.
I know that most people do not realize that the Irish had a very strong connection to Jamaica, more than any other Caribbean island.
Mhm. Mhm.
And the Irish were actually brought to the Caribbean as indentured slaves.
Aye.
And a lot of them stayed in Jamaica.
Mhm.
And when you look at the freckles, you
Mhm.
know they have Irish DNA
Ah.
because and the red hair. And the other part of the red hair also came from the Germans, although they didn't have as big a population
Right.
as the Irish, because the English, that is why it is such an animosity between the Irish and the English, the
Mm.
Scottish and the English, because the English used the Irish as slaves, and they were the lower class of
Mhm.
the whites. Second then was the Scottish. So that's a sin that they have never been forgiven for.
Oh.
And when the English got into the slave trade, they were smarter than anybody else because they made sure never to bring their slaves over to the UK.
Mhm.
They brought them to the Caribbean, to South America, and to the Commonwealth states of the US. Because Portugal started slavery,
Mhm.
and um, taking them from Africa and bringing them over to Europe.
Mhm.
And when the English realized just how lucrative it was,
Mhm.
they decided getting on it, but they always wanted to appear, that their hands were clean.
Right.
So they wouldn't bring them to Europe. As I said, they did it then in, of course, the southern US and the Commonwealth states and South America and the Caribbean.
Mhm.
And the Guinness Stout in Jamaica, that's where that came from, the Irish, and even the accent.
Mhm.
Some some places in Ireland, if you hear people speak, they sound very Jamaican.
Yes, I saw something trending the other day on YouTube where this gentleman, he was a member of parliament.
An MP, that's right.
Yeah, and
Hmm. Hmm.
he was that was patois, but he wasn't. And
Hmm.
he says, he was given. I'll try to find it and share it on my page. But I found
Hmm.
it quite funny. And then, of course, once you log on it once, it keeps coming up in your on your
Hmm.
page. But that was quite
Hmm.
interesting. He's never even been to Jamaica, and he was honored though.
No,
He
no,
was honored to have
yeah.
been so highly respected and for the all the
Hmm.
attention that he was getting from the Jamaican community. But the poor man, he was like,
Hmm.
what the heck has descended on me? I've never been to Jamaica. What are you talking about?
Right.
And all he's trying to get out of it, the more and more Jamaican he sounded.
Hmm. But and then of course, if you listen to him very closely, there were certain words that he said that didn't sound
Correct.
Jamaican at all,
Correct.
even though it came out with the Jamaican accent.
Yes.
And it begs the question, um, why is it that Jamaica has a completely different accent than all of the Caribbean islands?
It's true. It's
You
true.
know?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. And again, it is that influence. of the Africanic, the Irish. The Irish is very dominant, and then the English. And the patois, of course, is a translation of the Africans and the French trying to translate their language
Into.
into English.
Okay.
Because and even in Ireland, they don't pronounce an H as an H. They say H.
H, and you know that that's predominant what Jamaicans say.
That's right. And again, that's where it comes from. And, some Jamaicans, depends on their level of education.
Mm-hmm.
If they're talking about your hair,
Yeah.
they don't say hair, they say air.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're talking about your ears, they don't say your ears, they say your hairs.
Hair. Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and then this thing about, having tall hair and
Yes,
so on.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
that's where it comes from. And it's very interesting if you read
Mm-hmm.
the history and the background
Mm-hmm.
of the Irish link to Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, and then of course, I'm sure you know about the Windrush
Yes, I
generation.
do. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, because it all ties in there,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I keep saying you have to know your history.
You do. You do.
You know, from whence we come it,
Mm-hmm.
there's we going. And to deny that we had slavery in Cayman is really a shame, and it is sad because we did have slavery, and believe it or not, we had a lot of those Irish slaves right here in Cayman.
Mm.
Yep. They were here as slaves, but because of their white skin, they were treated better than the
Okay.
black ones. Yeah.
Mm.
And some of them stayed here. And of course, we have descendants of them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's easy to tell because you look at the green eyes with the kinky red hair,
Yeah.
the red skin. That is a combination of the blacks mixing with the Irish.
Mm.
So
Interesting.
again,
You
know
gotta
your
know.
history.
You gotta know your history. I
You
see
got to
where
know your history.
you may know this too. Not that I'm doubting Andrew because he knows what he's saying, but because of your connects as well. He's saying that there is a German town in Jamaica where there is a dominant amount of descendants.
Yeah, Germantown, if I'm not mistaken, that's in St. Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, in St. Elizabeth, you have a lot of mixtures because St. Elizabeth is a merchant port.
Okay,
And
that would make
that's
sense.
where
Mm-hmm.
that's right. So um, that's where you had a lot of the Germans who integrated with the Indians and mostly with the Indians for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, their offspring, they're very beautiful because they had like that sort of olive color complexion with the red hair.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they had the blue eyes,
Mm-hmm.
and the French, and of course the Chinese and the Indians.
Mm-hmm.
So St. Elizabeth is a very, very interesting place when it comes to integration in Jamaica because it's a merchant port and also Port Antonio. But St. Elizabeth has it more. That's why in Jamaica, when people have what they call high red skin, they'll say more than likely they're from St. Elizabeth.
I've heard that. I have heard that.
Yep.
Now you have just put
Mm-hmm.
it all into context. And it's true
Mm-hmm.
though, even we have a number of them living here. And for true, their entire complexion, even their quality of hair, everything is
Mm-hmm.
different. Everything is different.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I mean, just to share a little bit of my history,
Mm-hmm.
my paternal grandmother, she came from India, and of course her family also settled in St. Elizabeth.
Okay.
So yeah, and
That would
that's where my
explain your hair.
yeah, well, those that know my dad,
Mm-hmm.
sure they can see he's
Yeah,
Indian,
yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
and so we're watered down. Well, as my mother used to say,
Uh-huh.
we were half. Yeah, she would always say that we were half breeds. So, so what what half was the half and what half was the breed, I don't know.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
of course, she was Caymanian,
Mm-hmm.
but like many Caymanians who left and went, you know, to Jamaica to go to school, she was one of them. And of course, she met my dad there, and but then she brought him here.
Aye, that's it. Locked
Yeah,
him down.
even well, even though back then Cayman had nothing to offer.
Right, right.
Jamaica was by far the most developed island in the Caribbean and more developed than some of the United States.
Mm,
Again, people don't know this. Jamaica had railroads and stuff long before some of the United States had them. You know, and that's how you travel.
I think one, two
From
of them are
Paris.
still in operational now for like the Keene and stuff, right? One of them,
But I was
Appleton
going to
Estates. Yeah.
say
Mm-hmm.
they only use them now for transporting produce.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
yes, not for transportation.
Right, right.
And of course, Jamaica had the theaters with the balconies, the
Mm-hmm.
what do you call it, with the private and so on. And some of them still exist. Of course, they were not able to upkeep them with the downturn in their economy. But Jamaica was separated in classes,
Mm-hmm.
not just by um, color, but by wealth.
But
So,
that still somewhat exists today, even in the language, even though it's less in your face, it's still because you'd hear them
mm-hmm,
uptown and downtown and just certain
mm-hmm,
surnames. They're just certain
mm-hmm,
surnames. Like, for example,
mm-hmm,
let's say the Archers. Maybe the Sims would never get into the Archer family by marriage
mm-hmm,
because of classism. And
mm-hmm.
it's amazing how that still is somewhat well and alive nowadays, even in Jamaica with some of the names that you're hearing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get into
Um,
certain families. Mm-mm.
exactly, but because of that classism, of
Mm-hmm.
racism,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and don't forget too that Jamaica also had quite a big population of Syrians.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. Yes. I, I
mm,
I saw that somewhere the other day too. I didn't know that either.
mm-hmm. Yep,
Mm.
they do. And I just saw a comment on here.
You see it from
uh,
Andrew.
no,
Which one?
the Melita. It says,
You're
Miss
all
Brenda,
around.
right? And now you see, when you say all round, that takes me to cricket.
Okay. Oh Lord, yes, you love that.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
because in cricket you have the specialist batsmen, specialist bowlers, and then you have your all rounders.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's what
So I
you.
was wondering if Melita watches cricket as well.
Oh, okay. Melita is up to something this evening. She has really kept me going today.
Yeah, she's
Oh, I
she,
love her. I love her.
she is either in a very good mood,
Yeah.
or she had a little short of Irish whiskey
Something,
maybe.
something, something, something. Oh, Miss Melita is at it today. She's on it today. She's on the ball. Andrew
Mhm,
shared something personal as well, too. He says, my family line is an
mhm,
integration of Chinese, African, and Scottish. The
mhm,
Chinese was sick of eating Chinese food. They wanted some
mhm,
oxtail.
mhm,
So
mhm.
I guess that's
And
how they
well,
ended up in Jamaica.
if I am not mistaken, I think Andrew's mother has Caymanian roots. Now he
Mm-hmm.
can correct me there, but
Okay.
yes, I believe his mother came from Cayman, and if she herself didn't, then her family did.
Mm.
And of course, most of the Caymanians who went to Jamaica, they were the Cayman Brackers, because of
Right.
course it was there,
Yeah.
and like the Colonels, the Tibbets, and so on. And because many times when I was in Jamaica, I had them asking me if I knew certain people, but they were from the Brac. You see,
Mm.
yes, and you might notice you had a handful of Jamaicans who also settled in the Brac.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I can think of one family right now because the father was Indian, and he settled in the Brac and married, had beautiful children, and sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said, and then right here in Grand Cayman, because they're very clannish, and like for example, the Indians, they stuck together. The Chinese, they stuck together even though they weren't many, and the whites, they stuck together, and that's just the way it was. And of course, as I call those people the old timers,
Mm-hmm.
because back in the day when they came here, they integrated and they respected our culture. They, had their side thing on their
Mm-hmm.
days.
Mm-hmm.
But if they were married to Caymanians, they respected the Caymanian culture,
Mm-hmm.
and all of them were willing to learn it and to also eat our dishes.
Right.
So,
Right. You see, where Wake Up
um,
Cayman Island saying that German town in Jamaica came from a shipwreck between the Brac and Jamaica. Some remain on the Brac. They're saying, I met 100% Cayman Braca that speak like a Jamaican. So it
yeah,
aligns
well,
back with what you say. Mm-hmm.
yeah, well, Germantown in St. Elizabeth really is because of the German
Mm-hmm.
community.
Mm-hmm.
It had, nothing to do with the BRAC. Obviously, we had no Germans here. So they were the German merchants, because you had the Indian merchants, the German merchants, the Chinese merchants, the Syrian merchants, and of course you had the integrated English, black and white. And then if they had wealth, of course they became merchant marines as well.
Mm-hmm.
So as I said, we're all linked somehow. And I encourage people all the time, trace your bloodline,
Mm-hmm.
trace it on both sides,
Yes,
you know.
yes, yes. And
So
Andrew
that's
answered
that's
your
all,
question. He says, yes, my mother is 100% Caymanian, West Bear.
There you go.
My father came here in 1953 when they were building the
Mm-hmm.
airport runway and met my mother. Plenty of
Mm-hmm.
history.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I see Melita's
You see, Anna?
clarifying that he's no cricket for me. She say, and by the way, they had a cricket tournament here, and Cayman advanced to the next round. I don't know if anyone
No, I
right
wasn't
now.
aware of that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's taking place at the Jimmy Powell Oval there in West Bay.
Okay,
So
that's good.
maybe Melita could go out there and support them.
Aye.
At least she can clap when they make a run. She should understand that much.
Hi, Melita. Yes, yes, yes.
Oh,
So there we
yeah,
go.
but
It's all
I
good.
I don't I don't know Melita. I mean, I've seen her name and stuff. I don't even know what she looks like, but she seems to be a really fun
Lover,
person.
lover. Yes, her personality
Lighthearted.
always. Yes, yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. And we need a lot
Mm-hmm.
more of that because we do some heavy hitting stuff here, and sometimes it's
Mm-hmm.
draining. But days like today, I mean, with everything that's happening around the world in our region and
Mm-hmm.
everything, man. I said, why not? And then by me preparing, and I found all of these stuff that links back to Barbados, Jamaica, and Montserrat and Cayman. I'm like, I wonder how much people really realize this.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was really good to share it. And even though it's a lighter moment, because I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
you remember the restaurant down there on 7 Mile Beach before Peppers coming from town where they had this big rock. They used to paint it green and you used to stand up there and that used to
Mm-hmm.
block traffic in the evenings.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see those things anymore. And Marshall shared a picture with us back in the day when he attended one of
Mm-hmm.
the walk runs. And so we do have it, but more and more, I
Mm-hmm.
guess it's more insular. And if you're not with friends or someone there, it could miss
Mm-hmm.
you. But this really
Mm-hmm.
ties into us. I can't buy into the WhatsApp that I got about green rundown though. Oh God,
Yeah,
no.
well, we not gonna trouble our rundown. We can leave that
Oh
Caymanian.
my God.
But I just want to perhaps expand or clarify
Mhm.
on a comment that Andrew just made, where he said that my father was an avid cricket fan.
Yes.
He was much more than just a fan. My father was very, very instrumental in the development of sports in the Cayman Islands,
Mhm.
and cricket and football. And back in 2003, he was recognized for that as well as
Mhm.
for law enforcement.
Mm.
So, and then when they created the Cricket Hall of Fame, he was one that was inducted in it.
Nice.
So,
You see,
um,
learning so much today. Because I mean, it all
mm-hmm,
depends on what age group you have. You only hear Mr. Archer, oh, that Mr. Marco, daddy, daddy's fun, daddy. But you
mm-hmm,
really
mm-hmm,
don't know. And I mean, once they have passed on unless they're
Mm-hmm.
recognized nationally
Mm-hmm.
and gives you the
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to highlight. Then our certain generations will never know. They only hear
Yeah.
your last name. So it's
Mm-hmm.
good that we have opportunities like this, even though it came up on this episode, to share
Yeah.
this. But it's good. It keeps it relevant, and keeps them relevant, and not just in the confines of your home, in your family.
Right.
People need to know.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And another comment that I'm seeing that Andrew has made. Now, this is regarding Siaga. I take it he means Edward Siaga,
Siaga, yeah, was
and he's
Syrian.
saying that. But if I'm not mistaken, and I stand to be corrected, I think that Mr. Siaga was Canadian. One of his parents was Canadian.
Mm,
I'm not sure about the Syrian, but I know for sure he had very strong ties to Canada.
mm,
And back in the 70s, when he defeated Michael Manley, um, it was Canada that came to his aid first.
oh,
Yes, because by that time, the rest of the world had shut Jamaica down.
mm,
And yep, and they wouldn't come back, but Canada came to his aid. And and that is one of the reasons that Jamaicans didn't die hard accept him, because they felt he wasn't Jamaican because of this Canadian parent. But you can look it up. It's there.
mhm,
I don't remember exactly which one it was, but I'm not sure about the Syrian, but I know for sure that one of his parents was Canadian, and it's a very good possibility that he may have been born in Canada. No, I might be wrong there,
mhm.
depending on their law, whether you have to be born Jamaican, to be the prime minister, but I'm pretty sure that one of the parents came from Canada.
This is what Uncle
Hmm.
Google said. Uncle
Hmm.
Edward Siaga, the Jamaican
Hmm.
politician, was neither Canadian nor Syrian. He was Jamaican, born in the United
Hmm.
States, and of
Hmm.
Lebanese and Scottish ancestry, thanks to
Ah,
Wikipedia.
okay,
Mhm.
okay,
Jamaica's
okay.
fifth prime minister from 1980 to 89. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so he was Jamaican, born in the United States, and of
Okay. Mm,
Lebanese and Scottish
mm-hmm.
ancestry.
Mm, okay, okay.
Mhm.
Well,
He was
he had
born
some,
in
yeah,
Boston, Massachusetts. Hmm.
he had some connection to Canada though through one of the parents. So
Okay. Well,
yeah,
yeah,
so
but
maybe if
Uncle Google,
if
you
you
know
look,
how that go.
yeah,
If you dig more,
yeah.
you'll find more. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
But
in,
the history books, like for example, if you found something with his biography, I'm
what?
sure
Yeah.
they, yes, because they would have history on his parents as well.
Hmm.
But yeah, but I did not think he was Syrian. So
Mm.
and I'm not sure if you call Lebanese Syrians. I don't know. Do you? No, I
No,
don't know.
no, they would be
No,
to
I
me. They would be
think
different.
so. Yeah, they're different. They're Arabs, but they're
Hmm.
not same. But it just goes to show, just as I call it, how mixed up Caribbean is. So
Yeah, boy, if we
um,
were to do some real genomic DNA testing, genomic sequencing, what a
mhm,
mix up we would be.
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say this while we're speaking about names, because this is a very common error that Caymanians, I've heard Caymanians make and claim.
Mm-hmm.
They carry these surnames, and so they think they have that bloodline.
Ah.
They don't. They don't. And they should know that, because slaves back then were denied their own last name. They took the last name of their slave master. So that is why you
Mm-hmm.
have Black people with these white names, McLaughlin, McPhail, McCoy, and so on, but they don't have that DNA unless
Mm-hmm.
the slave master was having an affair with one of the slaves and
Mm-hmm.
produced a child, which we know happened, but they never gave the child their name either.
Mm-hmm.
So the child would eventually have to take claim to some name as a last name. Because remember, the mother was owned by the slave master. And it was only because of whatever it was back then that when they had to give a last name, they were given in groups. And,
Okay.
this group was Turner's, group was Campbell, and so on. They were not even individualized. Because remember, these people were treated less than human.
Right.
So,
Well, I pull up some
mm,
information since we were on Mr. The late Edward Seaga's on his parents.
mhm,
His father was
mhm,
Philip George Seaga, born in Jamaica to Lebanese
mm,
Jamaican family. A second
mhm,
generation Lebanese Jamaican, worked as a salesman, lived in Boston, Massachusetts around the time of that Edward was born. Now, his
mhm,
mother, Erna Aletta Maxwell, was born in
mm.
Jamaica of Scottish, African, Jamaican, and possibly Indian ancestry.
Okay.
Moved to the
Okay.
United States shortly before Edward's birth. Now, both parents
Mm,
left Jamaica and settled in Boston, where they were married in 1929 and later had Edward in 1930. Now, there are
mhm.
right now, based on this information that I'm pulling up, there are no records show either parents or connections lived or living in Canada. No immigration, ancestry, or biological sources linked the Seaga family to Canada, and all documented movements was Jamaica, United States, not Canada. Yeah,
Okay. And okay, so maybe I'm confusing
with
him with
somebody
another.
else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people mixed
Um,
up Lebanese with Syrians since many Middle
mhm,
Eastern families migrated to the
mm,
Caribbean in the same era.
mhm,
But Siaga's father was Lebanese Jamaican, not Syrian, and neither parent had Canadian ties.
mhm. All right, yeah,
Yeah,
maybe it was
probably.
another politician in
Mm-hmm.
Jamaica confusing the Canadian
Mm-hmm.
with
Mm-hmm.
um but so okay, so that corrects
We got
that,
a history on that one. We need to dig up our own now.
Yes. Mm, yeah. And you know what would be very interesting,
Well,
since we're on Edward Seaga, to look up Michael Manley.
mm,
Because no, let me tell you, his father, Mr. Norman Manley,
mm-hmm.
he had very, very close ties to Cayman. And he was the lawyer who assisted Mr. Ormond Panton
Mm-hmm.
in writing the bill that they took to England when Mr. Ormond was fighting to get us internal self-government, something that we have all lived to regret and we
Mm-hmm.
now suffer because of that. But Mr. Norman, who was a QC at the time, he saw Mr. Norman saw Mr. Ormond's natural ability as a politician.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the one that suggested that Mr. Ormond should be the chief minister, because that's what it would have been.
Right.
And so he was basically showing him the ropes as to how you do this, how to write the bill. And Mr. Ormond Panton took it to England. It was accepted by England. England said, okay, what you have to do now, you have to form a two-party government.
Mm-hmm.
And when Mr. Ormond came back to Cayman and brought this, of course, he was betrayed by members of his own party and by the opposition, who did a petition saying that, oh, they couldn't do this because if they had done this, then we would have all of these Jamaicans coming in here at free flow, which they didn't want.
Mm.
And and so it's not just today that you get these blatant lies being told.
Yeah.
I'm not going to call them misconceptions. I think that'd be too nice. Let's
Mm-hmm.
call it what it is. And but the reason for that was because we didn't have an army, and that was another thing that we had to get. We had to have our defense force, and until that was established, Jamaica was going to provide us with defense at a cost of £20,000 per year.
Okay. Interesting. I
But it didn't happen.
I
So,
did pull up a little bit on Michael Manley. He
mhm,
says that Michael Manley's ancestry is fully Jamaican, but his family
mhm,
roots trace back to England, Scotland, and Africa. And
mm,
he was born, of course, in St. Andrew, Jamaica, son of two
mhm,
Jamaica's most influential figures, Norman Washington Manley, national hero, lawyer, Jamaica's first prime minister, and Edna Manley. And
mhm,
it says that his father was born in Roxburgh, Manchester, His ethnic background goes back to English and Scottish from his father's side and African Jamaican from his mother's side. And his mother, Edna Manley Swithenbank, that's Nee Swithenbank, was born in Yorkshire, England, later moved to Jamaica. And her ethnic background, of course, sources note English, Jamaican cultural influence. But again, there is no, because of course it's going to keep trying to find if we're connecting the person to Canada.
Yes.
So that's the only reason why. But that is actually what that says there. So yeah, they originate from Scotland and African from the father's side, and from the mother's side, England. So it's interesting how this is so easy to just get all of this information. There's no reason why people should be chatting foolishness when you have all of these different sources out there that's readily and available. And Melita says that your bobos know. Miss Brenda asks you, ask your bobos who I am. They all know me. You too, but not putting the face to the name is all. And now she said, listen to this. She says, I'm going to eat my dinner on a hair, hunk fritters and steamed fish. Who drooling?
And for those that don't know, my bobo that she's referring to is Marco.
Okay, all right, there we go. Ask your bobo who Melita is.
On that note, maybe she's related to Marco's wife, because Marco's wife from West Bay.
Okay,
so
well, who to tell? There you go.
She can confirm that.
You can be Dora the Explorer after the show and go and find it out. You'll put the person to the name. But it was really good. Thank you so much for taking us down this history road today and tying it all back to exactly how I never thought that this would have gone off like this. I could be honest with you, Miss Brenda. I said, girl, you're going out on a limb. But when I find this thing tying back to Cayman with the names and all that sort of stuff, I'm like, you know what? They said that we have lost it. We don't know where we come from and all this sort of stuff. If this is the first way of opening the door to have this conversation, and look at what we unearthed. Look.
But let me just say this, Sabrina. Caymanians need to stop listening to myths and believe in them.
Yeah.
As a nation of people, I think, excluding me, they're too gullible. Okay? That's why I keep saying, know your history.
Yeah.
Have to know where you're coming from. There's no reason to be ashamed of it. Slaves didn't become slaves because they wanted to be slaves.
True.
They were captured. And let me just correct something, because this has now been corrected. They were not slaves. They were enslaved.
Yes, enslaved.
Remember,
I thought it was quite interesting how they worded that. Enslaved.
That's right. Enslaved. That's right. And so you have to be careful how you word that. And that wasn't by choice, So there is no shame in. I mean, look at me. I've got all mixtures in me. Even Irish. Okay. So, and if you saw some of my mother's relatives, you'd wonder, oh my God, how did this one look like this and this one looks like this? But they're siblings.
Yeah.
And even to look at my siblings and I, and how we came out. But then if you know what my parents look like, I guess you could understand that. But
yeah.
Wow,
interesting.
Because the Indian is very dominant, with color and hair and stuff. And those that took my mother's lighter skin, what people don't realize is that they have the very dominant Indian features.
Okay.
But because their skin is lighter, it gets overlooked.
Wow.
Like I have twins in my family, and a lot of people don't even know that they're twins.
I gotta be honest with you now. I could share this, and I was a bit embarrassed, and I was put in my place. I didn't realize that you were a twin. Now you?
I'm not. It's not me.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
No.
Because I wished my friend a birthday, and they're like, well, you didn't wish Miss Brenda a birthday. I'm like, I didn't know. No, she's a twin. I says, I didn't know, because it's who pop up on my Facebook. You understand? Once you know how to do the birthday things. And that's where I pull a lot of this information. And they're like, well, Brenda's birthday was today too, And I said, I didn't know she didn't pop up. That's her twin brother.
No, The twins are Sandra, Andre and Sandra.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. See?
Mm.
So, all right. Thank you for clarifying that because I was like,
Yeah,
oh
but
my God.
again,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, Sandra's dark like that, and Andre's like Mama.
Okay.
Uh,
Good.
And and again, the interesting thing there is Sandra has Mama's features, even though
Mm,
she has Daddy's color. Andre has Daddy's features, even though he has Mama's color. So
good. Dug it. Genetics,
yeah,
DNA. Well,
yeah,
thank you for sharing
that
that with us. And Melita does confirm, yes, I am. She's my first cousin. You're too
there you
bright,
go.
you know.
There
She
you
say you
go.
too bright, you
Okay.
know.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Melita? You want to go through a little something,
Little bit,
and
little
if
bit.
it's smart enough, you'll bite.
You'll figure it out. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for your contribution. Always a pleasure
Sure.
having all of you on. Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Sure. Bye bye. Well, there we have it. I never expected this to go here today, and I'm so happy that I followed my gut and had this episode of Sabrina Speaks as we showcase and celebrate. Yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day. Learning so much. We learned so much in Marshall. I could kill you because you never send me the pictures, but I guess he will share them with me overnight and we can share them tomorrow. What did you do on St. Patrick's Day? But as we wrap up today's St. Patrick's Day special, I want to leave you with this: culture is a gift. Yes, it's something we share, something we celebrate, and something that brings us together. So whether we're Irish, Caribbean, or anywhere between, may your day be filled with laughter, may your home be filled with peace, and may your path be lined with opportunities you don't even see coming. Yes, that concludes this episode of Sabrina Speaks right here on CMRTV.com. It has been my pleasure bringing you another episode. I look forward to joining you tomorrow evening again, 5 o'clock, for another thought-provoking discussion. And of course, what's the sense without you? You are the reason. And I look forward for your participation, your contribution, as well as we continue to build and live in this space. As I do every evening, love you lots. God bless. Be safe on the roads. Good night.
That's a wrap for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks. Thank you for tuning in and for being part of the conversation. Remember, the dialogue doesn't stop here. Stay engaged, stay informed, and most importantly, stay empowered. We'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m., same time, same place, right here on CMR TV and radio, where your voice matters and your truth is heard. Until then, Cayman, take care of yourself and each other.
That's it for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks, where your voice matters, your story counts, and your truth is always welcome. Join us weekdays from 5 until 6:30 p.m. right here on CMR TV as we dive into the topics that matter most to you. Catch the show live or on demand at cmrtv.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram so you never miss a moment. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and always speak your truth.